Get out of my personal space.
You cannot be recording.
Get out of my personal space. Don't touch my. If you touch my stuff or me, we're gonna have a problem. You understand me? I will defend myself. I'll defend myself if you touch me.
That's fine.
You understand me? I'm gonna warn you right now. You touch me. If you touch me, I'm gonna change the way you brush your teeth. You understand me? You hear that, right?
I understand.
You hear that? Touch me, see what happens.
Okay.
All right, punk? Don't touch me. Don't touch my stuff either. That's an extension of myself.
You keep pushing towards my
hand. It's called assault.
You keep pushing.
I'm going up and down, brother. You're in front of me. You came to me.
Today's video takes us to Kissimmee, Florida, where we're going to listen to baby girl Zach whine and cry about the 3 days he spent in jail and how terrible it was and how he got 20 days and now he's on probation for 12 months. We're going to listen to all that stuff. So let's all sit back, watch, have a good laugh, and most of all, enjoy!
This is a recap of what happened last year, 2024, January of 2024, where I was unlawfully arrested in Polk County. And then from there, I want to tell you what happened off camera once the cameras were shut off by law enforcement. And I was put in the police vehicle and taken off the booking. So recap. I was exercising my constitutional rights in a tax collector's office in Davenport, Florida, which is in Polk County territory, aka Sheriff Grady Judd's territory. His officers are so ill-trained. Oh my goodness. So if you saw the video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was unlawfully detained, unlawfully trespassed, and finally unlawfully arrested. That's Polk County for you, folks. Grady Judd, everyone. And they don't use body cams or dash cams in their vehicles. Oh, go figure, because they like to operate in the dark because they're violating people's rights all the time. Oh man, so yeah, I was recording, taking pictures and video in a tax collector's office in public, not breaking any laws, right? And I wasn't even disrupting business. And yeah, I was arrested and trespassed and all that fun stuff. How did that happen? All right. So I was in a lobby area. I was in like a general testing area, but it was in the outer lobby area of the testing area, right?
Now, if you don't live in the state of Florida and you have no idea what the hell Zach is talking about, this is Sheriff Grady Judd, and he's a no-nonsense sheriff. Yeah, he's a lot like the guy out there in Arizona who doesn't take any mess from the inmates. Yeah, lock him up and throw away the key. It's the way to go. Anyway, let's continue on Zach's pitiful story.
It's open to the general public. And one thing that everyone needs to take note of right here is Brandsburg v. Hayes case law. Okay, it speaks specifically to the press and the people having equal access. So if you are citizen press, which everyone has a right to be under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, you have the right to record where you have a right to be, where the people can be. So wherever the people can be, the press can be also equal access. All right, so keep that in the back of your mind. I'm in a tax collector's office in a publicly accessible area. If you've watched First Amendment audit videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was just, minding my own business. I was not being expressive, okay? So you can be expressive when you're recording, but you have to be shouting or exercising your freedom of speech on top of, your press rights. But I was just there exercising my press rights. I wasn't there, tooting my horn or anything. I was just there to record. Gather content for a story. The stories that you guys like to see that I disseminate to you to see how our public servants that we pay with their tax dollars, how they treat the public, if they treat us with respect, and if they recognize and honor our rights, which unfortunately does not happen most of the time. In this case, it certainly did not happen. You saw what happened.
Zach, you've been hanging out with your boyfriend Lana too long. You think you're free-range press like he is? Yeah, we saw what happened, though. You got arrested, and it was lovely. Had to go downtown, had to sit in the back seat of that car, had to get your mugshot taken. You got a bunch of pretty mugshots, Zach. Sure got a pretty mouth, too.
Let me just kind of start with, the cameras were turned off. When I was finally placed in handcuffs to go to jail, I was, as you know, I was given 3 charges during the time of my arrest, which were trespass after warning, which was later amended to trespass within a structure or conveyance. That was a little sneaky thing that the the state did during trial. But remember that. So trespass after warning, resisting arrest without violence, and giving false ID to law enforcement officers. So those were 2 catch-all charges they just tacked on to trespass. And yes, I am appealing it. And it's going through the process right now. I've already filed the notice of appeal, or my attorney did. And we're kind of in the beginning stages of that. We finally got the transcripts not too long ago, and so he's going through that. And it's more of a procedural back and forth with the appellate judge, I guess, and the appellate attorney that I've hired. But so yeah, I experienced quite a bit of financial hardship and police retaliation since my arrest back in January 2024.
Now, why did you face financial hardship, Zach? Is it because you couldn't go out and fraud it? Now, see, if you had a real job, you could have avoided all this. You could have avoided going to jail, could have avoided going to court, could have avoided those mugshots. Man, Zach, your mom and daddy must be so proud after they sent you to college.
So let me start with this. First thing I should let you know, which I kind of already let you guys know before, is that my car was towed, which wasn't even parked on property. Okay, so the property, the tax collector's office that I was trespassed from, I didn't park on that property. I parked at like a Family Dollar, down the street, and parked on their property in an area that they probably wouldn't even notice for a couple days. Deputy Montalbano took it upon himself to be such a hero, and he let them know that, the owner of that car, my car, was going to jail and that they should probably tow it. So they had it towed, and I had to pay $500 for that later. Anyway, then when I was taken to jail, I realized they decided to take my equipment, meaning my 2 phones and my body cam, to evidence, because they definitely wanted to use it as evidence. They just wanted to complicate things for me even more, which led to an array of problems, not just, getting it back and having to get a new iPhone and stuff in the meantime, but it created an issue for me during the booking process, because, I don't have anybody's phone numbers memorized. I rely on this, to, dial and reach out to people via phone. And I think I speak for most people on that. We don't memorize people's digits anymore. That's kind of a thing of the past. And if you do, I know some people who still do, but you got a really good memory and you're, kind of the exception. But not a soul knew that I was in jail for a while. And anyways, I ended up spending about 3 days in jail. This arrest took place, by the way, on a Thursday. Early afternoon, I was taken to booking and then transported to an annex, and I was there till Saturday morning, 2:30 in the morning. Okay.
So let me get this straight, sweet thing. You don't know anybody's phone number because you're too stupid? Is that what you're saying? Oh, and if people do know phone numbers, that makes them a what, brainiac? I guess I must be a brainiac then, because I know people's phone numbers. I don't rely on my cell phone for everyday matters. Yeah, that's what's wrong with these young kids. They're too stupid to know any better. But Zach's not a young kid. He's in his 30s. You should know better, Zach. Your mama didn't do such a good job on you, did she, boy?
Okay, so I was there for 3 days, technically, or it's technically considered 3 days. So what happened when I was transported? Well, aside from realizing they didn't bring my phones or my body cam and that it was put in evidence, I had to be transported from booking to the annex, which is about another 30-minute drive, which I had already had to endure a 30-minute drive from the tax collectors to booking in handcuffs. And I understand now why they call them torture cuffs. They chained me along with all the other inmates in booking, like kind of like a chain gang type thing, and they crammed us into this transport bus. If you don't know what a transport or van is, that basically is like a van where instead of like having rows of seating that typically would have, they like rip all that out and put a steel cage in there. I call it like a kennel for humans. And if you're claustrophobic, you're screwed. I'm not claustrophobic, but it kind of makes you think twice about getting in there. Like, am I claustrophobic? I sure hope not. And even if you're not, maybe somebody you're next to is, and they get sick, and now you're like stuck in this, crammed in claustrophobic situation with no ventilation, right? Can you imagine? So I'm transported to the annex, and when I get there, I realize that, the cell I'll be staying in has 5 other dudes in it already.
Well, what did you expect, Zach? Jail's not supposed to be fun. It's not a picnic. It's not a party. People who go to jail can't live within the framework of our society. Yeah, Zach, you get the message now, sweetheart, or you still want to be a frauditor? Probably, yeah.
So there's one toilet, which has a connecting sink. It's dirty. Like, you can tell they never clean this place. And it's like 50 degrees in there. It's super cold. I know this isn't no, 5-star hotel situation, but woo, it's cold in there. 50 degrees, it's got to be. Some of the guys in there in my cell were trying to put, some blankets or a blanket over the, vent there and trying to hold it together with these plastic forks. It was kind of cool, actually, how they put that together. But the guards ended up going there and ripping everything down and flipped all our beds over on the dirty floors and everything. That's probably how I got sick. That combined with not eating anything other than the packaged stuff and the bread. So my immune system was not doing so well. I was actually diagnosed later with strep throat. So I got out of there just in time. I was sicker than a dog by the time I got out. But how did I get out, or what was the situation once I got out? Because I didn't have anybody's number, remember? So I couldn't contact anybody and let them know that I was there. But my girlfriend at the time had to, the very next day, drive me to the towing place where they towed my car to get that back. That cost me like $500. I had to get an attorney once I found out there was a bench warrant out for me. And I found out through one of my followers who was following my case. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, Zach, you got a warrant out for your arrest." I'm like, "What?" I had no idea. And it was for failure to show up to the first hearing.
A supposed so-called good Christian boy with a warrant out for your arrest. You know where you're going in the afterlife, don't you? This used to be Zach's intro on all his videos, and then he changed it. Oh, that wasn't a change for the good, Zach.
So here we are with me having a bench warrant, and I didn't know really what a bench warrant was. I reached out to a few people I know, and I said, "Hey, I got a bench warrant. What does that mean?" They said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about that. They're not going to come scoop you up proactively. They're not going to go out of their way for you. That's like if you get pulled over, some kind of traffic stop, or you get pulled over for speeding or whatever, and they're writing you a ticket, and they run your name through the system, find that you have a bench warrant, they'll take you to jail at that point, but only if you get into trouble or something in the meantime." And I'm like, "Oh, so they're not going to come scoop me up, and take me to jail for having a bench warrant. They're not going to come after me." They're like, nah, don't worry about it. So I, was like, okay. So I relaxed a little bit. And I found out later they actually tried to scoop me up over the weekend by picking me up on a Friday. So I had to spend the weekend in jail. I wasn't home when they came by to pick me up, but I got the body cam footage of them coming to an attempt to try to take me to jail on a Friday for that. But man, I grabbed a lawyer as soon as I could. I paid $1,500 retainer for this lawyer, and he got me out of that situation, or took me to that first hearing, took care of that.
So, Zach, if you paid $1,500, it doesn't sound like you're indigent at all. Yeah, Zach, I wanted to ask you about that. You filed paperwork for a court-appointed attorney, didn't get one, then you hired your own attorney. What's up with that, Zach? Inquiring minds want to know these things, sweet thing.
And then I paid another $6,000 retainer for my criminal attorney with Bogan, Munns and Munns, then another $1,500 for the trial day. So by this point, I've paid about $9,000 in attorney fees. Then, after I had my trial, which was a jury trial, it was 12 months probation sentencing, along with 20 days in what they call the weekend inmate work program. So on the weekends, I was considered an inmate from 7:45 in the morning till 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And what you do is you're kind of like in an outdoor jail, like a sandbox, I call it. It's like a sandbox outside, and there's ants everywhere, and you can only sit down on a hard, wooden bench with no back part to it. So you can't get comfortable. And everyone's kind of crossing their fingers and hoping that the sergeant or one of the city workers will choose them to go out on these jobs, which are basically outdoor, weed eating and edging and picking up trash and those sorts of things.
Ooh-wee, $9,000 for that attorney. I think you got off pretty cheap. Yeah, that's probably why you got convicted, though. Yeah, you need a more expensive attorney if you're going to beat the case, sweetheart. Maybe that's why he became indigent, because he spent all his money on legal fees. Perhaps. What do you think, good people?
I told you about, the experience in jail, how I got out of jail, who picked me up, how I got home. Then I picked up my car. I had to go out and get another iPhone because they kept my other 2 phones in evidence because I had no idea when I was going to get those phones back, and I needed my phones to function. I used one phone for like my main phone, this one for recording and such. It's my personal phone, and then I have another phone I use for work. So obviously very disappointed in the trial. I wasn't too happy with the argumentation or lack of argumentation from my attorney for my criminal defense. She didn't use all vantage points that I believe she could have used, or at least didn't elaborate on them enough. I don't think that's going to be too big of a problem with the appellate case. So I can't really speak too much more on what I think on the criminal case, other than I'm not completely satisfied. But my appellate attorney doesn't seem to have any issue around what actually happened. I don't think it's gonna hurt the appeal. Aside from the 20 days as I guess you want to call it like a partial inmate on the weekends for 20 days, and then the 12 months probation. I had to pay nearly $400 in court fees, plus, the probation is like $600 altogether for the 12 months, and then $400 for the 20-day inmate program. And that you have to pay $20 cash every day that you show up on the weekends.
Oh, now that's a real kick in the ass, isn't it, good people? You have to pay the county, and then you go to work and pick up trash. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, man, I love that idea.
So Saturdays and Sundays, you have to show up with $20 each day. And if you fail to bring exactly $20, they send you home. And after the second or third time, they take you to jail for the remainder of your sentence. So you don't want to come up short of $20 or be over $20 or not, because they're not going to give you change. They'll arrest you for just about anything over there. If you bring food that's in a package instead of taking the food out and put it in a Ziploc bag, that's another way to get arrested. Or if you sleep, and it's very hard not to sleep sometimes when you're out there in the sandpit all day long. That's why I'm saying, if you're out there, you're kind of hoping, like everyone else, that you get selected to go for, go on a job. And I only had to serve 17 days, actually, because they counted the 3 days I spent in jail as time served. So they subtracted 3 from the 20 days that I was given to complete by the judge. So I only had to serve 17. So that's already done. I've completed that already. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm just, kind of relying on my attorney to kind of go through the procedural stuff on this appeal. And I'll keep you guys updated if there's anything significant that comes up with the appeal. But that's sort of where we're at. That's sort of what's transpired since then.
Well, there you have it, good people. Old Zach finally convicted of something. Because he always told me, he says, oh, those are just mugshots. I haven't been convicted of anything. Well, now you're a convict. You've been convicted of something. No doubt about it. I bet you're real happy about that. What your mom and daddy say about that, or don't they know? Well, that's a worry, good people. If you enjoy watching stupid people do stupid things on my channel, please subscribe. Because when it comes to Zach and frauditors like him, there is no end to the stupidity and the stupid things they'll do for clicks and views on their pitiful YouTube channels, no doubt. Please check out my other channels, including Dr. Dave, Debunker of Frauditors, and Sausage. And if you need more stupidity, my main channel has over 6,000 video uploads for your viewing pleasures. How about that, baby girl, Zach? Yeah, Zach just needs to find a real job. I don't know why he can't. You're college educated. You got yourself a college education, boy. What's the problem here? Oh, he doesn't want to work in hospitality management. Tough stuff. Cheers to that.
An ordinances book. Yep, that's correct. Come again. Is there any reason why these officers are here? I got permission.
Sir, you cannot film in here.
Because the information you're providing is unlawful.
I don't want you filming it.
Call the sheriff. I have permission.
I don't want you to film.
Don't get close to me. You want to go that route? What is the reason for calling the officers here? I want to know what your job title is to see if you're able to assist.
Who are you?
Who am I? Who's the one who called the officers in the first place? Because this may become a legal suit now. This is transparency. I'm conducting an audit. While I wait for the clerk to show me the statute about freedom of information, I need to do an inspection on the town, city, zoning and ordinances book. I have permission. I have permission. I have permission to film here, sir. Ma'am, please ask your superior before disrespecting somebody of the public. Where's the water department for this town? Don't yell. I'm talking to you softly. Why are you yelling at me?
Sir, please stop recording me.
Okay, I need to do an inspection.
I understand that. Please stop recording me right now. You do not have my permission to record me.
Okay, is your facility open to the public?
Not currently.
Not currently, okay. Okay, can you comply with my request? Where's your water department? Ma'am, you're totally wrong. This will become a legal matter if you choose to go this route. Should I go over FOIA law with you?
No, I don't need to see that.
Show me the statute.
Sir?
Can you show me the statute?
Sir.
Who are you with?
What do you mean, who am I?
Who are you with?
What do you mean? I have the right to record, ma'am. I have permission here with me. I'll be waiting for the statute. Thank you. I'll be waiting for the book, sir. Ma'am, this is going to turn out a legal matter.
Okay, sir.
This is going to become a legal matter. Please comply. Pass. I got a pass. Along with an inspection on the zoning and town zoning and ordinances book. I'm going to be conducting some business here. I'm going to be recording it. Ma'am, it's up to you, ma'am. There may be a suit in the court of law for non-compliance. What do you mean who I'm with, ma'am?
I don't know what you want.
I don't know why you're giving me a hard time or a bad attitude. In order to do an inspection on a book readily available. Hi, ma'am. What's your first name?
How can I help you, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me what's your first name?
Who are you?
The budget book, ma'am. I need to do.
I don't have. If you want to have a seat, I'll.
Sure, that's fine. Ma'am, I have permission to film. I have permission. I have permission here. Well, you see, the thing is, my good man. Anyhow, compliance is the key, folks. Where does it state that? Ma'am, I need stamped copies of these FOIA here.
Can I help you?
Yeah, sure, possibly. I'm acting as press, ma'am. First Amendment. And I also have permission here with me. Okay, ma'am, you also have to abide by 2635.101 basic obligations of public service. Sir, I'm abiding by the statutes. It does not require a name in order to obtain record. Okay, well, you're talking unlawful. You're talking incorrect. That is not true what you just stated. Come again? Very rude. I'm not rude. It all shows on camera. You're the one who's rude. Well, anyhow.
No one really cares.
No one really cares? An inspection, if I wanted to take digital photocopies.
No, you cannot.
Absolutely, I can,
No,
ma'am.
you cannot.
Please comply with the law. Are you refusing service? Just tell me you're refusing service. Hand me over your business card and you will be hearing from my lawyer. If you go ahead and record, that means you're creating a public record and you cannot delete that off your personal phone. Your personal phone becomes a public record.
That's fine. I'll record it.
Okay. Well, sir, there's options to conduct business in person. You can't refer everybody to online. I'm not going to refuse my identification. However, I have not committed any crime. You cannot articulate that I have broken a law. Here's what I will tell you. Ma'am, there's no expectation of privacy in public. You could just call me sir. I'd like to file a police report of non-compliance about a employee that works here. Sir, I don't answer any questions.
You don't respect me. Why would...
So therefore, I'm not obligated to provide any identification in this matter.
you talk about my wife? What does my wife have to do with anything?
No, I'm not providing an address, ma'am. I'm doing a general inspection.
What does my wife? Why put up a picture and say that's my wife of a goat?
Not in my uniform, however, I do have my clipboard with me. That is not lawful. What you told me.
We're gonna have a ball at your cemetery. We're gonna bring you a rose, okay? We're gonna bring you a rose, and we're gonna say you were dishonorable. He's attached to the affidavit too. He's part of the enterprise. You drew first blood. Just like you do with all these auditors, you draw first blood. In the next 3 days, I'm going to have a criminal enterprise community section, and it's going to be real well detailed. I got an attorney that's helping me draft it up and write it up. Scumbag. You're just a plain scumbag, man. You want to
You're
say
a scumbag. You're a piece
why
of shit.
I'm upset and stuff, and we're gonna prove that you are breaking U.S. code. If I really wanted to be petty, I would take you to court.